Welcome to the Culinary Treasure Podcast. I'm Steven Shomler, your host. Today finds me once again on the enchanting island of Kauai. Absolutely love Kauai. Today I found an incredible food truck. As many of you know, I started out writing about the Portland food cart scene, so coming across a food truck that had amazing food near and dear to my heart. I've got Yoshi and Lynell Yonemura. Did I get that right?
Yep, you did.
I met you guys and I had a gut sense the food's going to be amazing. Now, I have a duty to go actually eat the food to make sure. But then when I saw the truck, again, I knew. Then when I saw the food, I knew. And then when I tasted, it was like, oh my goodness. So there was a lady watching me eat. We're sitting out here. You've got a really nice outdoor area. They're in a food truck park, basically. In Portland, we'd call them a pod. And there was this lady over there watching me eat. And she just was laughing at me because I was just like in heaven. All right. Enough of my nonsense. Let's start visiting with you first, Yoshi. It's so great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
All right, questions ask everybody on my podcast. Where were you born?
In Tokyo, Japan.
Ooh, that's awesome. And where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in SoCal, California, at the SoCal High.
That's in Santa Cruz?
Yeah.
And what's the mascot there?
The Knight.
The Knight. And so you now have a food truck. You're full-time running your food truck.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back in time, talk about your culinary journey for a second. Tell me about your first highfalutin, high-paying culinary job. What were you doing?
I was a dishwasher.
And how old were you?
15.
I can't tell you how many chefs I've met that started out literally in the dish pit. Is that place, what was the name of that place?
It was called The Terrace at the time. It's now called Michael's on Main.
And I'm speculating, but often someone calls in sick and the dishwasher gets promoted. Is that what happened to you?
Yeah. You're slaving away, putting away cleaning dishes, and they tell you, you got to get on the line. And that's what happened.
And cooking professionally, it must have resonated with you.
Yeah. I mean, my grandma and my parents always cook, so I love to cook. I love to eat.
Yeah, it's funny, cooking professionally is very different than loving to cook at home. It's like two different things. Like I love to cook at home and I could make like 5 people a good breakfast, maybe once a month, but I wouldn't want to cook breakfast for everybody, for 100 people every day. It's a whole different kind of experience. And for a lot of so you've done a few things here and there in your professional career, but mostly you've been a professional chef, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And the really cool thing that I think is, I don't know, kind of like just makes me want to like, sing is that you most of the time have been a sushi chef.
Yeah.
Which to me is like really like people that can make like pastry, super amazing pastry blow my mind. People that can make sushi blow my mind. I've had the joy to interview different sushi chefs and there's always an interesting experience how they learned to do it or how they got into it. I want to hear your story. Your dad had a hand in encouraging you to become a sushi chef. Is that right?
Yeah, at the time I was living at home and my dad asked me what am I want to do with my life. I told him I don't know. And he said, well, why don't you be a sushi chef? And I said, why? He says, well, you're Japanese. I said, well, that makes sense. So I called the local sushi bar down the road and he asked me about my experience. And at the time I didn't have much and he sounded pretty disappointed. And so I figured I'd throw at him. I said, oh, I'm Japanese. And the owner said, oh, come in right now. So he wanted me to come in for an interview, and that's how the ball started getting going.
And was it easy or hard for you to learn to make sushi? Because there's a lot to it.
It was really hard. The teachers that I had back then were really strict. If I didn't do a good at the time, they would pull me from behind the sushi bar and tell me go home that day. So they wanted to make sure that I was the right fit. They didn't want just some kid who wanted this as like a hobby. So they trained me very well. And then eventually helped opened their second restaurant. So at the time it was called Sushi Garden. And I helped open their other restaurant. And that's kind of how things got going.
Yeah, I've heard a few different horror stories of people that go to boot camp for the military and how hard boot camp is. And I've had worse horror stories of people being trained in a restaurant by a sushi chef to be a sushi chef. One gentleman learned in Reno from someone who was a sushi chef for years in Japan, Japanese, moved to Reno, and this guy was being learned how to do it. And sometimes the chef would say, just start yelling at him in Japanese and tell him to go stand outside. And it would be snowing. And he'd grab his jacket. And the chef would say, did I tell you to grab your jacket? And he'd make him stand out for like 10 minutes in the snow and then come out there. Are you ready to give us your best? Or do I need to fire you? And just be yelling at him. No. And he never knew what he did wrong, and then he gets sent home just like you. And I've heard many things. It's like there's this whole, like, they terrorize you, I guess, when they teach to be a sushi chef.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, they want somebody who's wants to dedicate, I guess, their life, because that's what they've done. So that's what they did to me.
And did you have to practice like shaping the rice, over and over and over?
So they first started, you first start making the rice, which was the most important part of sushi. And then afterwards, doing basic rolls and things like that, California roll. Then I wasn't able to cut the fish for a long time. My sushi chef will be the only one to cut the fish, and then they teach you how to cut the fish and things like that.
Yeah, I know in karate they give you like the white belt and the brown belt and the red belt, and you get to a black belt. They should give you different belts or something, or different color headbands when you're a sushi chef, so you know when you've elevated where you can do all the things.
That would be nice.
Then you know where you're at in the process. I've got 1 belt down, 9 to go. So in 2000, so you opened this cart in 2017.
Yes.
Cart's really fun named. I'm a bit dense, and I'm not the sharpest knife in the door, but I'm not the dullest either. But I've been tired on this trip, but it's a play on the words dim sum. Now, I love dim sum. That's amazing. And it's dim, D-I-M, the letter N, den, D-E-N, sum, din and dem sum, which is a cute name. You opened it in 2017 here in Kauai, but now you said Santa Clara High School. So at some point you left California and you came to Kauai. What year did you move to Kauai?
In 2007.
But your family vacationed here up to that point. So Kauai was not, it was a known thing to you.
Yeah, I've been coming here since I was like 6 years old.
And you came to be a sushi chef, to work at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did it take for just a long time, short time to Kauai to feel like home?
Instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kauai is one of those places, a very special place. But it's a very small town, and I always knew I would want to live here since I was like in middle school, so it just felt like home. Yeah,
the interesting thing is there's about 70,000 population, roughly, and there's about 140,000 tourists a month. So every month you get like twice the visitors as the population, but it does have that small town feel. There's not many places. There's a handful of places I've been to in the U.S. where I feel like I could live there, and Kauai is one of those places. It's the only island I feel like I could live on, but when I land in Kauai and the air's warm and it's just, I know, it just feels kind of magical. I love visiting here, and I get you. I feel like I could live here. So another cool thing happened in 2007. You used to be you partied hard. I know people probably can't tell by looking at you. And you would go to Rob's Good Time Grill in Lihue.
Yeah, that was the spot where, at the time, everyone would go to.
Now, for those, since we're not filming, for those that don't, I'm teasing Yoshi because he's not really the party hard guy. He's not like 9 shots at night. That's not his deal. But you did go in 2007, and this girl fell in love with you and kept pursuing you, asking for date. Lynell, is that kind of how it went?
Yeah, more or less. We'd always run into each other, and I guess me being persistent and then wooing her with good food paid off.
And you guys eventually got married, and you run a business together now, which is really cool. And I spent 10 years in the nonprofit world. A lot of the time I was working with couples, and I can tell when couples like each other and when they don't. And to me, like is more important than love, because if you love your wife but you don't like them, that doesn't work. And you guys actually like each other, and you run a business together. I think that's pretty incredible.
It can get hard at times, especially in a little truck, but we make it work.
All right, so I want to come back and talk about the food cart journey, but now we need to let Lynell get her licks in. She's got to be able to talk about that, how you guys first met and a little bit of her journey. So hand the mic over to her. So for those listening, since I'm on the road, I don't have my 4 mics. I just put 2 in my bag. Hello, Lynell.
Hi.
It is a joy to have you on the podcast. I had such good food yesterday at the food truck. It was ridiculous. I've got a great picture of you handing it out. I used to always take pictures. Like 3 years of my life, I'd take pictures of people handing food at a food cart window. And although you have a food truck, it's very similar to a food cart, and it just took me back to the days. And then the food was amazing. It was so much fun. So where were you born?
I was born on the island of Oahu.
Oahu. And where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school at James Campbell High School.
And what's the mascot there?
The Sabres.
The Sabres. So my son lived in Waikiki for 1.5 years. So I visited Oahu a number of times. And, every island has their own personality. Now, the Big Island is different than Oahu, which is different than Maui, than different Kauai. And so you obviously were in Oahu for high school, and at some point you moved to Kauai. What year did you move to Kauai roughly?
I moved to the island of Kauai in 2007.
And you moved here for work? You
Moved here for work.
went to work in the travel industry, in hospitality, I mean. Now, when you come from a different island, did it take a bit to adjust for Kauai to feel like home?
For me, it took a while to adjust to the island of Kauai. Oahu is very different, very busy, so I wasn't used to the slow-paced lifestyle here on this island. It took me, I would say, probably a little over a year to get used to it, but I ended up falling in love with it and stayed.
Yeah, years and years ago, I worked with a gal from Chicago, and she was fast-paced, hard-driving. Her name was Linda Haloshi. And I think it's like Czechoslovakian or something, not Czechoslovakian, but a Czech name, I think, from the Czech Republic. And she came to Kauai because of a guy, and she lived here for a year. And when she first got here, it drove her nuts. She wanted like the lines in the grocery stores. And then by the time she left, she'd read the magazine in line and not worry about it. And then eventually people just decided she didn't look Hawaiian. But people decided she just had that aura that she was Hawaiian. So I told her to tell people that her name, Haloshi, actually means pineapple princess in Hawaiian. So she would tell people that. And then after that, she chilled. She lost her Chicago intensity because it's so laid back here in Kauai.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you are actually the one, as I understand it, you're the one who would party hard and have 8 or 9 shots every night at the bar.
Oh, yes, it was definitely me.
Neither one of them are like that. But back in the day, Rob's Good Time Grill in Lahui was a hangout. People get together.
Mm-hmm.
And one night you were there, and this man showed up, and he just fell in love with you immediately.
He did.
And the funny thing is, his aunt, auntie is what we say in Hawaii, aunt for the rest of us, was visiting from California, and she was at the same property visiting where you were working.
Yes.
So Yoshi would go to visit his aunt, but then run into you.
Which means he was stalking me. He was following me.
I just think that's funny how the universe works. He meets you, you guys have a connection, and then he ends up not even realizing the property that he's going to visit his aunt is where you're actually working.
Yes.
And you guys got together, and you, now I skipped this part of Yoshi's story, but we'll fill in since you and I have the mic. He worked as a sushi chef for a long time, but then in 2008, he started a sushi company. Yonemura Sushi. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Yonemura Sushi. And he was a sushi chef. He was working, and then he had this part-time gig.
Mm-hmm.
And people kept saying, hey, you need to be full-time, you need to be more. And that's what gave him the idea to have a food truck.
Yes.
So he got a probably an old rickety, it's not around anymore, step van from the North Shore.
Yeah.
And drove it down. And if I understand correctly, the first moment he told you about, let's have a food truck, sweetheart, and you get to help me, you weren't as fired up that first very moment. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I was not too thrilled about this food truck that was all of a sudden parked in our driveway.
But then as I understand the story, and correct me if I'm wrong, 2 cool things happened. One, you started to realize that you could have freedom because self-employed done right, you can have a lot of freedom. A lot of people end up self-employed and the business owns them, not them own the business. And I, doing my Spark to Bonfire mentoring, help people get free from that. But you realize, done right, you can have some freedom. And that kind of appealed to you, self-employment. And you guys took an amazing trip to Asia because you're gonna have Asian food in your food truck.
Yes.
Well, how did that trip impact you?
The trip was amazing. We spent basically a little over a month in Asia, and we traveled to Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, just to kind of get a feel of what the food was like there, do some research on our end so that we could see what the food was like there. And the idea of just having like really good food for an affordable price, like that was the idea for our food truck when we came back home.
And you guys have done it now 6 years, if my math's right.
Yes.
And you still like it.
We still like it. We're still doing it, and we're very happy.
I can see that, yeah, in the cart. And you've even grown some. I met Harrison yesterday in the cart.
Yes.
And he seemed cool and nice. I liked him. And you gave me a little bit of some hot oil to take home.
I did.
I think you should bottle that and sell it, extend your business. I think that would be amazing.
That's the plan.
Oh, that's like a secret thing that's coming. We're
The
revealing
secret thing that's coming.
All
We're
right.
trying to expand our business. And
That's one of the things you might sell.
yes, possibly.
Oh, yeah, hot oil would be good. And I haven't tasted it yet. I took the jar and I'm going to take it home, but I'll do a post about it when I cook with it. But
Okay,
or
awesome.
put it on something. But it looks stunningly beautiful.
Thank
So did you ever think that you'd have a culinary business?
No, absolutely not.
Well, that's what happens when you marry a widely acclaimed sushi chef.
Yes.
All right. What's some of your favorite things to eat that are made in the truck? Now, for those that don't know, the food truck has a rotating menu. And in my head, this is just Steven's crazy head, it's not seasonal, it's inspirational. So whatever inspires you guys that day. Now, it does, certain things are more in season than not. So that does have some play, but it's what dishes inspire you. So there's a few things always on the menu, but there's other things that come and go. But of the things that are occasional on the menu, what are some of your personal favorites to eat?
Some of my personal favorites is the pork belly bao. That is our signature item that we actually won Battle of the Food Trucks with here in Kauai in 2018. But it's braised pork belly with cilantro, some pickled vegetables in a bao, and it's just so delicious. And we've even had some customers say that it's comparable to David Chang's pork belly bao.
Wow. Now, I love bacon and I love pork belly, and it's a rotating menu. I didn't get that. I was denied that. And I think you guys did it on purpose, so I have to come to Kauai again.
You do have to come to Kauai.
I have to make a special expedition
special
just for the pork belly bao.
belly bao.
Yeah. I think actually it was on the menu and you scratched before I got here just to say, oh, Steven's got to come back to Kauai. Now, I've been to Kauai a number of times and I love it. And if I go back somewhere, that's for my personal. The first time I go, it's to get an article or get a podcast or film one of my shows. But if I go back, there's a couple places I've been to on this trip that I'm thinking I want to go back there again just for my own enjoyment. And yours is one of those places. I would come back here in a heartbeat. I've got these beautiful trees. I'm looking at clouds. I've got food carts. I feel like I'm back in my old school days. The food is amazing. There's a food truck right next to you. It's busy and everyone's there. And I'm sure their food's good. But no offense, but I've already had your amazing food. I would just go back to your amazing cart.
Thank you.
Again. All right. I wish you all the best. And now we're going to switch it back over to Yoshi and we'll get more of his journey. So Yoshi, while you were gone, we talked about you drove a harrowing drive to North Shore. You picked up an old rickety step fan, and then you had to fix it up to make it usable to cook in.
Yeah.
How hard was that?
Very difficult. The old truck before was, they used to sell pho out of it. And it was pretty dirty inside, and driving something that sits on the North Shore right next to the ocean where the things could be rusty, and driving all the way back from Honolulu all the way down to the south side is not something I'd recommend. It drives like a tank, and stopping it felt like you were having to use your Flintstone feet on it. But yeah, I mean, we, with the help of a lot of my good friends, we got it fixed up, and that was our start of our food truck.
Yeah, my first book, I wrote about the Portland food cart scene and told the story of 30 different food cart owners and the harrowing stories I would hear of them getting their contraptions, whether they were towing them or driving them from Eastern Washington or Eastern Oregon or down in California, or just from, the dark side of Southeast Portland, and getting them to their food truck, or food cart pod. It is crazy what you guys do as committed entrepreneurs to make it happen. About how long did it take you to get that step van ready to actually cook and sell food out of it?
Well, we wanted to take our trip first, but it took us about a year, because we bought it in 2016, and then we opened in 2017. So we wanted to make sure that we were ready. We didn't want to rush into it. That was the main thing that we wanted to make sure of.
Yeah, I want people to realize it takes a long time to refurbish something like that, particularly when, often when people are running a food cart or food truck, and not you guys, I've been inside many, many food carts. I've worked in them, donating my time for free at events to help food cart owners I love. But the ones where the people are just tired and burned out, they don't clean anything. There's just layers of grime everywhere. And then when you buy one of those carts, it takes forever to fix them up. So someone inspired you is the same someone that inspired me at different points in our journey. So I have life I have now. There was 4 things that inspired me to go ahead and pursue the life and build the life I have now. And 2 different books, A Magnificent Meal by Chef Rick Gencarelli, Lardo Food Cart, sitting at a table. I'm almost about to tear up just like this and had a mind-blowing meal. Said, I got to write about this. And then Anthony Bourdain, his show, No Reservations. I write, I travel, I eat, and I'm hungry for more. And I would hear that. It would I almost teared up, just move me. And he inspired you to that's part of what inspired you to take your trip to Asia.
Yeah, that's right. We wanted to open up something like an Asian street food truck. And then, but we knew we had to do a little research first. So we watched a lot of Bourdain back then, and watching him and him telling us, just go, don't be scared, go travel, go eat, get lost. That's what inspired us. And so originally I was really scared to go to Philippines and to Thailand, but I listened to Bourdain, and Bourdain said go. So I went, and I had the time of my life.
And I bet you had a lot of amazing food.
Oh, it's the food, but it's mainly the culture. To see how people live out there too is really humbling.
Yeah.
To see, in my opinion, like little kids selling waters and freeways, and but they're so humble. Like when you go anywhere and they're just thankful for what they have. That's what makes I think traveling to like Southeast Asia really one of the best parts.
Yeah, I've spent some time in Eastern Europe and similar kind of things. Some of the countries I've been to. I know that America is far from perfect, and we've had a lot of challenges and a lot of brokenness in our past and present, but I'm also super grateful to be here because compared to some other countries I've been to, I understand why people move heaven and earth to try to get here. I get it. How did that shape so you've been a professional chef for a long time. How did that shape your journey, that trip?
It drove me to see that, like a lot of families that just don't have much, and they just, how hard they're working, and to see simple ingredients and to make great food, and to taste things that you're like, wow, like I never would thought that combination, or that, it pushes you to be a better chef just because you see how hard other people work, and it makes you feel like, well, I should step up my game and be a better chef.
So let's talk about your menu. So, of course, I had to eat a lot yesterday. I did it, I did it not for myself, not for gluttony, but for my fans, really. But so the menu changes, it rotates, but you often have a plate lunch. Mm-hmm. So yesterday I had the mahi plate lunch. It was all good. It was ridiculous. The mahi, the garlic butter sauce. And I have to take you to task for your mac salad. Now you're not Hawaiian. You didn't grow up on Hawaii. How in the world do you get away with, and you make that from scratch. That's not like Cisco mac salad.
Yeah.
How do you get away with doing that? That's not even legal, I don't think, to make that good a mac salad.
I love mac salad. Anywhere we go, or pretty much anywhere we go, on island or off island, I try mac salad to see if it's good. And if it's not good, we instantly know. So when I was younger, for family cookouts and parties, they'd always ask me to make my mac salad, and I've been making it since I was a teenager for my family, and it's pretty much the same recipe. It's just simple stuff, but
don't give away. It's a secret. We can't give away the secret.
Oh, I know. Yeah. There's mayonnaise in it. That's one of the secrets. But other than that, it's just using simple flavors and but making sure the ratios are right.
No, it's good. I could eat like a whole plate of just that. When I'm in Hawaii, and then sometimes other parts of the world, if I see loco moco, I get it. And I love even a bad loco moco, but when you get a good one, it's just like a good mac salad. It's like a revelation. So hats off for pulling. So often a plate lunch, different things on the plate lunch, a different protein. There's often a plate lunch in the menu. Something that's always on the menu, but even it changes, is your dim sum pack. So tell us about there's 2 ingredients that are almost always in the dim sum pack.
Yeah, there's out here in Hawaii they call them pork hash, but they're called shumai pretty much around the world, which is like it's like a wonton wrapper on the outside, and then there's filling, so it can be range from pork to shrimp, but out here we use pork at our truck. And then on the other one is manapua, so it's a steamed bun, and there's char siu pork on the outside, and the dough is made from rice flour, so it makes it real soft.
Yeah, just like it looks like a beautiful pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 2 of the shumai yesterday. They were fantastic. They kind of reminded me of dumplings, but they were fuller and just rich and amazing. And then that beautiful little pillow thing, I didn't want to eat it. It was so cute. But I did, trust me, I did eat it. And then the third thing kind of switches off, and you get fried food with your dim sum.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love fried food? So we like to put on there some shrimp. Some fried coconut shrimp is always good. And then otherwise, like we have to have some fried rice on there. So that's always a good item to have.
And then I had yesterday. Mine came with coconut shrimp, which is sometimes on the menu and sometimes not. So just when you get here, just get what's on the menu. Don't give them any grief. Just order what's there, and you'll be very, very happy. Trust me. The coconut shrimp that's the other thing. The lady was watching me eat when I took a bite of that, and she started. That's how I knew she started laughing. And I look over, and this lady laughing at me, and she says, "You are loving your food." That coconut shrimp was really good. Something else that I had, you do different salads of different types. Like yesterday, you had a mushroom salad that was delicious.
Yeah.
What other kinds of salads do you sometimes do?
We'll do, on the outside of our truck is octopus. So sometimes we'll do like octopus salad. But out here in Hawaii, we call it taco. So we'll do a taco salad. We'll do seaweed salads. We always have a bunch of different things we like to have little bites of stuff. So you're not, you have something like light to eat as well.
And then you sometimes have poke on the menu.
Mm-hmm. Especially during the summertime when ahi is plentiful in Hawaii. That's when we typically have.
And then yesterday I got some fried spam musabi.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be good. Did I say it right? Am I close?
Spam musubi.
Musubi, sorry. Yes. Yes. It just Howley. I'm not. It doesn't matter what country I'm in. I mess up the language. I just do my best. But I can eat the food. I may not be able to pronounce it, but I can always eat it very well and take good photos of it. It was fine in my head. I'm about to eat it. This will be fine. Great. That was probably the best thing I had. It was. I took it back to I left here and went to Hapa Kauai. I didn't eat all of it, and I gave it to everybody at Hapa Kauai. You've got to have this, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, where did you get this?" And the fact that I wanted to share something amazing, that's how good it was. I had to share it. How do you guys pull that off?
We wanted to take something that's everyone knows out here in Hawaii as a musubi, and just elevate it. So you take a musubi and we put in a batter. We put panko on the outside and fry it. And then we put our sauces on top, and it makes it even better.
Yeah, so we were visiting a little bit with Lynell, and there's the idea of expanding your business. And maybe you'll do hot oil. Seasoning salts are easy to do, and it's harder really, to all the work to get sauces. But if you ever put those sauces out, I would buy those. Oh my goodness, the sauce you put that, the fried spam musubi.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I'm not as dumb as I look. Was fantastic. And you just have a gift with flavors.
Yeah. And I think I credit to, people who taught me, and I use my palate. I got to have good flavor.
All right. So now you can't give away secrets. But when someone visits Kauai, what are some safe places you can mention that you guys like to go to, either for food or for the beach? Now, don't give away the best beaches, but is there any places you can mention that's okay to talk about, that you won't get you in trouble with your neighbors?
I would check out Kiawe Roots. They're located in Lauai. They're a local run restaurant.
And they started out as a food truck.
Yes, they did.
Okay, and what have I heard that there's something I've heard that's really good there? Is it the loco moco maybe, or there's some dish I can't remember? But I heard that 2 days ago. Someone told me that I had to go there.
We like to go there for the breakfast, which
there.
recently started about maybe 5-6 months ago, and it's like, well, now it won't be a kept secret, but it's one of the best breakfasts on Kauai.
Like what are some of the items on the breakfast menu?
They do like a green chili skillet, so it's like cut up. I think it's like pork shoulder. And they do like a green chili skillet out of it, and it's with hash browns and like egg. It's one of the best things. They also do something, it's called like a bread pudding. and it has it's like a sweet and salty bread pudding. I just tell my kids it's French toast because if I tell them it's bread pudding, they'll probably be scared of it. And it's one of the best things I've ever had.
All right. So any outdoor places that come to mind that you can get away with mentioning that? Like surfers. Do you know anything about surfing culture?
Not too much. I mean, I know don't go on the North Shore if in the wintertime.
Well, so like in surfing culture, though, here's where I was going. You can't name the good surfing spots. You're not allowed to. You can't talk. I have friends that surf, and they may tell me just as friends, but I'm sworn to secrecy. So like just the fun, not surfing spots, but outdoor beach spots. Are there any outdoor beach spots you can mention and not get in trouble?
Yeah, I would highly recommend going down to Poipu Beach, and that's located on the south side of the island. It's family friendly. At nighttime, you can see a lot of sea turtles out there. But it's there's a little playground for kids.
Yeah, it's accessible. It's pretty. It's close.
Yeah, that's one of the best places I'd recommend.
Excellent. And when you go on vacation, where do you go on vacation from Hawaii? Do you go like Chicago for snow or Wisconsin or Minnesota?
We like to travel wherever there's good food.
I love that answer.
So it can range from going from recently we went to Utah recently. Just one of our friends lived out there, and I had some amazing food out there. We'll go to Vegas. We'll go to California. We like to go to Asia a lot. We need to make it more back east, just because I know there's a really good food back east. I really want to go to Texas for barbecue, but wherever there's good food, we're gonna travel.
You mentioned Utah, and part of me wanted to tease you, yeah, that's a hotbed of culinary joy, except there's a nonprofit out in Utah. It started out in Utah. Now they've expanded Denver, the Other Side Academy, and they do amazing work helping people that have been in prison when they come out of prison, have a whole different life. And I've gone to Utah and did some work with them. And I've had some incredible food, incredible cookies, incredible burgers, some amazing food trucks. I've had really good food in Utah, the Salt Lake area, which I never in a million years would have expected. You just don't hear about Salt Lake being great food. So it's fun, particularly when you and I think we've gone to the Bourdain School of Culinary Adventures. We know that wherever you go, you can find something amazing. Is it right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Well, it's been a joy to have you and Lynell on the podcast. I love your food. I'm excited to follow you guys' journey. If you go to the culinarytreasurepodcast.com, if you're listening to this podcast, I'll have an article. I'll have pictures from the meals I had. I'll have links where you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and all those things. And when you come to Kauai, if you live in Kauai, you have to come here. I don't care where in Kauai you live. Yes, if you live all the way in Princeville, drive down and come here. And if you live anywhere else, Lahui or Kalaheo. See, I know some of those towns. I can even close to say them correctly. You got to regularly come here. I just think people should. It's just fantastic food. All right. Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.